This is really good. Give yourselves a hand clap for taking a step in the right direction this year. Let that phone go off first. That's for the future.
Is your green light on? Yes.
I think so.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, cool. Tell me when we're ready. We're going live on Facebook, trying to be fresh and keep up with social media. So.
We're live.
We're live.
Don't say nothing bad.
So I think I know most of y'all. My name's Dr. Snow, chiropractor here in Lake Charles. Practice holistic functional medicine. And so we got some more people coming in.
We got some stragglers. It's okay.
Come on in. So we take a natural approach to your health. I've been doing this, it's right at 20 years now. Started off in Houston, graduated from Texas Chiropractic School. Done lots of training. My wife and I, we've traveled all across the United States to learn from the best natural physicians that we could find. We've learned some really powerful things. And I know natural health there for a while got branded as something that was kind of like more eclectic, alternative. I think that was a bit of a political move by some different parties. But what we know now, as the research is coming out, is that your body can stay well. We can prevent sickness and disease, and we can actually live at an optimal level of energy and health through understanding how the diet affects the body, the right foods, nutrition, and how to have a properly aligned physical frame. And that's what we teach here at Snow Holistic Health. And of course, we mix our faith in with our practice. We don't evangelize anybody, but we do share our faith. And what I think is important, and I've seen this as a practitioner, it's very important to believe that the body can heal itself. I think we do people a disservice, especially when we come to a point in our health where maybe we've been diagnosed with a disease process, and then we as a doctor predict, a poor outcome for that patient. When we tell people, hey, you only got 5 months to live, you only have 8 months to live, I think that is a really disservice. I don't believe it's a godly thing to tell people. And miracles do happen, but not even getting into the more, call it supernatural components of healing and health and so forth. The body has a very strong ability to heal and repair itself. And we just need to learn how to flow into that. And so where we're jumping in tonight, we're calling this program 28 Days to a Better You. And it's amazing what you can do in a month. If you have the right information, you have the right tools, and you have the right mindset. And so that's what we're going to dive into. I am a big believer in standard process nutrition. I'm not aligned with them in any specific way. It's just more of a matter of getting into clinical practice, trying all the different products. I've owned a nutrition store before. I worked with a naturopath over in Houston. So I've seen what there is to, as a consumer, what the offerings are as far as supplements that you can get online, supplements you can get at Walmart, supplements you can get at vitamin stores. And I've tried pretty much everything out there. And you basically gravitate towards what's going to work for patients, what's going to work consistently. And I have really high success with standard process supplements. And what I learned, what the difference was with standard process supplements, is they're one of the few true whole food nutrition companies on the planet. They've been going at it for about 80 years. And that's what we're starting to find, the differences between a pharmaceutical drug, a nutraceutical, and a whole food. Is there so many nutrients, phytonutrients, antioxidants, things that we don't even have names for, found in that natural whole food that will never be found in a nutraceutical or a synthetic vitamin, and definitely not in a pharmaceutical. And yeah, we need pharmaceuticals. We have emergencies, even with patients, they might only be able to go so far with changing their lifestyle. That could be compliance, could be many different reasons. And so we do have to take an integrated approach many times. But 80% of the time, if we can just get your diet cleaned up, get you into a good form of exercise, get your body in line, get the right nutrition into the body, detox you, we can fix almost anything. And that's what we want to talk about tonight, is we want to get into the 28 days to a better you. And I'm sure most of you here, not just to hear me talk, but to understand what the detox program is about. And so, Standard Process, they are one of the few companies that actually did their research and clinically formulated a detox program that's based on science. It's been proven to work, and I have some research that I can show you tonight that they did to prove that the program works. And it was designed by clinicians, PhDs, and nutritional scientists. So you're not just getting a box online, you're not just getting something from the health food store that hopefully works. Or at best, what I've seen a lot of people get is they get a really powerful colon cleanse and not really a detox. And yeah, having proper elimination is important for detoxification, but it's not probably good. So we'll dive into it here. Can everybody hear me pretty good, volume-wise?
Yes.
All right, very good. Okay, so toxins are everywhere. There's actually over 80,000 registered toxins that we come into contact with in a year's time. And it's thousands actually that pass through your body in a time of just 1 week. And where are these toxins coming from? They're coming from the air that we breathe. Most of this stuff is coming from the foods that we eat. And when you start to study this out, it's a little over 80% of all the disease processes that we deal with, symptoms, sicknesses, and diseases are actually secondary to metabolic dysfunction. And so metabolic dysfunction comes from getting the wrong macronutrition, processed foods, and foods that are laden with pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, and chemicals. And so just think about all the toxicity that we're getting exposed to from the diet, from our water, air, again, pesticides, insecticides, dyes. Cigarettes aren't as big as a thing as they used to be. You know, people vape. Those have lots of chemicals and toxins in them as well. And then, of course, we're overburdened with heavy metals, which can lead to cellular disruption, cancer, hormone dysfunction, inflammation, and many other disorders there. And then something that is important to understand when you're talking about detoxification, I'm going to go kind of digress a little bit here, but you also have what's called endogenous toxins. And so endogenous toxins are basically chemicals in our body that are created from normal metabolic function. And so we have things like ammonia, we have things like carbon dioxide, free radicals, and even a lot of our normal chemistry in our body. If it's out of normal physiologic reference range and it stays out of normal physiologic reference range, it becomes a toxin. So for example, even though uric acid is a part of our metabolic function, if uric acid gets too high or stays too high, you can get something called gout. You don't have to have gout to have a problem with uric acid. Uric acid is a byproduct for protein metabolism. A lot of the processed foods we eat will actually drive your uric acid up, and that can be a major player in joint inflammation and fatigue. And so we have to realize the longer we stay out of metabolic, and the more we stay in metabolic imbalance, the sicker we are, the higher the risk it is for us to get cancer, sickness, disease, obesity, lose function, get into hormone imbalance and fatigue, and all these many different things that we suffer from. And so part of going through the 28-day detox program is to not only help the body get rid of these exogenous toxins that we mentioned, but also to get the physiology and the metabolism in a normal range so that we're not suffering and being inflamed from our own
chemistry. And it goes on here, toxins are everywhere, 800 million pounds of herbicides are used each year, and then 167 industrial chemicals are actually found in adults. So right now, in this room, on average, we each have 167 foreign chemicals in our body. And so we have to understand that is damaging our system, and we need to do something about it. So this is a little bit more closer to home, but Louisiana and Interstate I-10 is known as the cancer corridor. So raise your hand if you knew that you were living in the cancer corridor today. Yeah, and if you really want to get nervous, just Google this. It goes all the way from Lake Charles and even gets worse towards Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And so the national cancer rates are extremely high, even considered the highest on the I-10 corridor. And I pulled a little, let's see if I put it here. So this was actually done by KPLC. I just highlighted some things here, but this was some research that they did in a local article. It says local refineries have state and federal approval to pollute our waterways as long as they adhere to the limits of their permits. And so the industries, even following the letter of the law, are dumping pollutants right now into Calcasieu River, into Big Lake, our waterways, and even our air as we speak. And sorry if anybody works at Phillips 66. I know it's a great company that provide many really good jobs. And so I'm not throwing Phillips 66 under the bus, but just to let you know what happens with these plants. The Phillips 66, the Lake Charles Refinery, was one of the nation's worst in the nation for ammonia pollution, and it was the 7th highest of 81 refineries in the United States for pollution. So that's right here at home. And so, like, part of the problem is, and they talk about this in this article, is that most of the refineries not even do anything illegal, not exceeding what's legal. They're dumping thousands of pounds of pollution. And we happen to have refineries that are the highest in the United States, and we have refineries right here that are even past their legal limits. And when you study this out, you will find it's cheaper for them to pay the fines to dump more pollution than it is to actually fix the problem and adhere to even legal limits. But even if it is legal, it's still a lot of toxicity that we get exposed to. And then I'll close here with this article, but refineries in Lake Charles release about 675,000 pounds of nitrogen pollution in a year in the Calcasieu River. And so do you think that we need to learn how to detox our bodies? And so that is probably the biggest thing I want y'all to leave with tonight, is to realize, and it's not just Lake Charles, but it's any, close to any industrial area. We are just in a time and age that if we do not have detoxification as a part of our lifestyle, a part of a health program, then we are missing the boat, and we are increasing our risk for getting these degenerative diseases that nobody wants. What am I talking about? I'm talking about autoimmune disease, I'm talking about cancer, I'm talking about neurodegenerative disease, and so that's Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all these things that we don't want. When you look at the research, it's toxicity and it's disorders in your metabolism. And so we have to learn how to eat right, and we have to learn how to detox. Moving on. So toxins contribute to many different things. Food cravings and weight gain. Weight gain is a big one there. Reduced mental clarity. That's probably one of the biggest things I see with patients that come here, especially when we get deeper into metabolic biotransformation. What we're calling detoxification is they tell me how clear that their mind starts to feel once we get the inflammation going and we get the toxic load down. Of course, fatigue and difficulty sleeping can be from toxicity. And the problem with different toxins, and that's a really big umbrella word, one of the biggest things though is it causes endocrine or hormone disruption. And so your body runs off of what's called your circadian rhythm. And so basically in the morning, we're designed to coordinate our hormone release with the sunshine. And so the sun comes up, our body basically releases cortisol and some other hormones and neurotransmitters, and then we have energy. And then that's supposed to have another pulse at lunch for some more energy, and then we're supposed to ride that wave down. At nighttime, the sun goes down, melatonin goes up, serotonin goes up, we relax and go to sleep. But when we have toxins in our body, it creates inflammation that can disrupt that cortisol rhythm. And so if you're having sleep problems, more than likely you also have a hormone problem. You're probably getting some type of a cortisol dump around 10 or 12 o'clock. That's creating an inflammatory response. And so just getting these toxins out can bring back that natural hormone balance. Joint discomfort's a big one. If you have toxins, you have inflammation, you're either going to have stiff muscles, trigger points, or you can even have joint pain. Skin issues are huge for toxicity, and you can leave home with this tonight. Almost all skin issues are actually coming from gut imbalance. And your gut is probably the number one places it gets affected with toxins from our food. Indigestion, GI issues, low libido are major players in toxic burden. So I really like this slide here. This kind of breaks down the science of it, makes it real easy to understand. But basically with the detoxification process, your body has to identify what's good and what's bad. And then when it finds something bad, it targets it, and its goal is to remove it. And so we get exposed to two different types of toxins. And so I'm going a little bit deeper. We already mentioned this. But we have endogenous toxins. So those are toxins that are created inside the body. And so those are things for metabolic waste in the foods that we eat. So a couple of those are carbon dioxide, free radicals, and then ammonia. And then you have exogenous toxins, which are the toxins that we're getting exposed to. And that's going to be from our food, pesticides, heavy metals, chemicals, additives, and dyes are probably the biggest player. And then the other major exogenous toxins are at home. And this is an area that you can really quickly change your exposure to toxins, is by actually going through your home, seeing what you're using, and trying to find natural alternatives for that. A very important place to find a natural alternative is in your dishwasher. There's residues that are left from the chemical detergents that we use. Your clothes are a major player with that. We switched this stuff years ago, but finding more organic detergents are important. One thing I have seen with that is some of them don't clean as well, and so you might have to use something stronger every once in a while, maybe to get your whites whiter and so forth, but you shouldn't be having to use that all the time. But what you have to think about is we're getting exposed to this from day one. You get exposed to toxins. We already learned that we all have 165 on average toxins in our body. And so you actually now get exposed to toxins as soon as you become alive in your mother's womb. And they've actually done studies on cord blood. And there's almost 200 to 300 chemicals found in cord blood. And so you're getting exposed to toxicity as soon as you become alive in your mom's body. And so kids are being, and babies are being born with toxins. And we see that a lot. You get a lot of infants in nowadays that have the reflux, gastritis, probably even more colic than I've ever seen before, and a lot of skin problems. And so some of this is toxicity that they were born with. Some of it can be gut imbalances. And I don't want to go off too far to that. But a lot of this toxicity also, they're getting exposed to it in baby formula. And don't want to go off too far to that, but you got to really be certain that your baby formula is clean. Then you want to make sure you're trying to stay away from soy-based formulas as well, because they cause endocrine disruption. So again, endogenous is what? Is that inside or outside the body? Inside. Exogenous is outside the body. Yeah, so we can clean our homes up. That's a really easy way to get clean. We have some really good alternatives nowadays, and of course we talked about the biggest source of toxicity, the biggest source of inflammation, the biggest cause of disease is what you are putting in your mouth. What are you eating every single day? Now, if we go back a couple generations, we were still, more than likely, most homes were still eating things out of the garden. They were getting, regular vegetables, food that wasn't as processed. And then it switched to where everything came out of a package. Everything came out of a box. We were buying all our food in the inside of the grocery store, not on the perimeter. And we're paying the price. In every generation that we continue to stay toxic and eat bad foods, it actually downplays our genetic offspring and makes them weaker. If you really want to study something out, there's a study called Pottinger's cats. And it's an endocrinologist. He was doing some studies. He needed cats for the study. I think, it's been a while since I read it, but I think he was studying tuberculosis. And basically, he was harvesting the adrenal glands of cats for the study. Well, they couldn't supply them all the cats at this one place anymore, and so, or they couldn't give them the food, and so he had to start getting regular gizzards and organ parts to make it cheaper to feed the cats. And all of a sudden, what he found out was the cats that he was not feeding processed cat food, and he was feeding the organ meat, which is their natural diet, their offspring started to be healthier. And so he saw, hey, wait a second, if I feed these cats processed food, and then I feed these cats the food that they're supposed to eat, which is real food, the genetics become better in the cats that eat the real whole food. And so after, it was 5, I think progeny is the word that they used for that, or 5 generations, the cats had big litters, they had no sickness and disease, they were agile, their IQ was higher. Then the cats that continued to eat the processed food got sicker and sicker. Some of them couldn't even get pregnant anymore. Lots of deformities and sickness and disease. And so that was a study done years ago. We're starting to see that we are going down the wrong way like Pottinger's cats because of the processed food. And so we need to get a hold of how detoxification works. We need to change our lifestyle and get our homes cleaned up. So this is kind of getting a little bit more specific into the detox. But this slide's called Prepare Your Journey. So there's things that you need to basically be able to detoxify just on a daily level. And even starting this program, most people in here are actually already on the program. And you have supplements that you're taking, maybe a general health pack, which would be considered a multi. And so you'll have plenty of nutrition to make sure that you detox even better. This program is set up to where if you're not taking supplements, you've never taken any supplements, it still has the nutrition that you need to be able to support proper detoxification. So I'm not concerned about that. But things that help you detox properly is having good B12 levels. And we'll see that you really need a lot of B vitamins for phase 1, phase 2 detoxification. Vitamin D, magnesium, methylation capacity, don't want to dive into that, but some people actually have what's called a genetic methylation problem, an MTHFR issue, so genetically they don't detoxify as well. Some of these people actually need a methylated folate, but that's another topic there. And so the second part is prepare for the journey. This is concept's called the elimination diet. Now, the elimination diet is built into your program. The elimination diet basically gets rid of your top food allergens. The main ones are going to be dairy, peanuts, eggs, soy, and gluten. So if you really want to have an excellent detoxification experience, get rid of as much inflammation as you can, lose as much weight as you can, then follow the program the best that you can and stay away from these top food allergens right here. I have had several patients over the years where we were doing the elimination diet, following it to the T. They did the program, and their toxicity questionnaire and then the paperwork they filled out for me, they were like some of the sickest patients I've ever seen. And they did the detox, and at the end of the detox, they had 0 symptoms. At the end of the detox, completely changed in about 30 days, 28 days. But elimination diet is a really awesome way to drop your inflammation even more. And we can talk, if anybody has questions about certain diet requirements that they have, just ask us. I'm not anti-coffee on the detox. There's a lot of benefits to coffee. There's a lot of antioxidants in coffee, so it does help you detox. The caffeinoids in coffee help to your bile to move better, and proper bile movement is very important for phase 3 detoxification, which is adequate bowel movements and elimination. And so I'm not against somebody doing some black coffee or black coffee with stevia. You want to keep it to 1, no more than 2. I don't always go off of coffee when I detox, but I do sometimes. But it's important if you've been drinking lots of alcohol, or you've been drinking more than 1 drink a day, you've been drinking 5-6 cups of coffee a day, it can be wise to wean down a bit before you start the program to get the best results. So that's the best results. Now, I will say this, 1 degree of change will change your destination. And so we're talking about destination health, destination better you. And if somebody wants to start on the detoxification program, and the best they can do is just do the shakes every day and try to make their food better, and that's how they get started on their health journey, but they're not ready to give up, a drink a day or 2 drinks a day for the coffee, then do it. Because that's going to be better for you than not doing anything at all. And you will be healthier at the end of it. So I don't want some of the things I'm talking about tonight make anybody in here feel overwhelmed. Because all it takes is 1 degree of change to get to a different destination. And so, start wherever you can start. But we do like to talk about how to optimize it. Yeah, so getting to know your program, I just recommend read the book. This is so well done. Again, this was done by clinicians like me, part of the group, PhDs, nutritional scientists. The stuff has been researched. It works. I don't know if anybody in here is like me, but I don't like to put my energy or get involved in something unless I know it's actually going to work. And so this program works if you work it. So you got to work the program. The good way to work the program is read through the book first. Preparation is huge when you're talking about trying to lose weight. Get your health back is preparing your foods. You'll see in the book that you get, there's shopping guides in there. It's basically a no-brainer as far as how to get it set up for that. So read through that, get prepared before you get started. You'll have a better outcome. And yes, this program is safe, and yes, it is healthy. Pretty much everything in there, not everything, but almost everything comes from their organic farm. And their organic farm is something to see. It's impressive. The ground's black. You just feel healthier when you're over there, but everything's super clean, works really well. So the name of the program is the SP Detox Balance. This is basic rules here. Helps to support metabolic detoxification. We're going to get into that a little bit more. It's 1 to 3 shakes a day. Every once in a while, I'll notice because there's fiber in there, there's lots of nutrition. Sometimes people's gut ecology is not ready for that much nutrition, so they might experience some bloating from the fiber, or the cruciferous plants that are in there, or the allium vegetables that are in there. So if you are experiencing that, then it can be wise to go a lot slower and maybe take that 1 shake. And if you get away with 1 shake, then just do that, or you might have to split that 1 shake up into 3 shakes that day so that your tummy can get balanced and then try to work your way back up. But it's just basically a minimum of 1 shake a day, up to 3 shakes. You're getting 17 grams of protein, and that's very important in a detoxification program. You need protein to detox. Your body uses very specific amino acids from the protein to basically take the toxins in phase 1, and then it uses enzymes, turns it into a intermediate, and then that gets turned into a water soluble, and it needs amino acids for both of those. Phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. And then the no flavor still has a sweet taste to it. I happen to like chai, but I like both of these, and so you don't have to do chai if you don't want to. Chai's kind of fun for me. Okay, so getting a little bit deeper into it. So detoxification is 3 phases. You have phase 1 detox, phase 2 detox, phase 3 detox. So when you think about detoxification, I want you to think about your liver, your bile, gallbladder, if you don't have one, you still detox, intestinal tract, and elimination, or poop. And so supporting the liver needs for amino acids, vitamins, different phytochemicals is how we get into phase 1 and phase 2. So it can take the toxin and it basically brings it through transformation. And so a toxin will just stay in the body until it can be converted to be able to get passed out of the body through the kidneys, via urine, and then also through the elimination of the colon. And so phase 1, you basically are going to need magnesium, you're going to need B vitamins, and you're going to need glutathione, which is our body's own natural antioxidant. Glutathione is very important to have normal glutathione levels. The more toxic you are, the lower your glutathione level is, and the worse that you detox. Glutathione actually helps to reduce insulin resistance, which means better weight loss. And so if you are obese, which would be 30% body fat or higher, if you have insulin resistance, weight loss resistance, diabetes, any metabolic disorder, then we need to make sure that we have glutathione, and that's going to come from the proteins. The main amino acid is going to be N-acetylcysteine, which is called NAC, and methionine, which are both sulfur-based amino acids. And so basically the cytochrome P450 system, bunch of enzymes. When I think of enzymes, I think of a bunch of Pac-Man. Does anybody play Pac-Man or familiar with the Pac-Man game? And so what would Pac-Man do? He would eat up things. And so these enzymes, they eat up things basically and metabolize them. And so that prepares it for phase 2. Phase 2 is actually called conjugation, and then that's where we turn it into water soluble. That's going to be more B vitamins for that, more amino acids, and then we get it to phase 3, which is where we need lots of fiber so that we can absorb, and then we can scrub, create bulk, and then we can push it out. And so that is basically the science behind detoxification or metabolic transformation. So the detox balance provides all this stuff. I want to get into that with much detail. These are some of the different things we use. Yellow pea protein is a great source of non-animal protein. Flax meal is soluble, insoluble fiber for that phase 3. Sweet potato provides a lot of vitamins. The oats have fibers and pea protein though in oats for detox. Pumpkin seed for minerals and protein. Buckwheat for flavonoids and vitamin C. Spanish black radish is a major source of sulfur, which is important for detoxification. Chelation and actually binding toxins to help eliminate, and apple pectin is good. Fiber and carrots has lots of vitamin A in it as well. Now this jumps in, again, a little bit more science here for you. But basically, this here, make sure I'm on the right slide, this is a cool little PDF that they sent me that explains the research that they had done recently. which proves the science of detoxification. But basically, they're just showing a couple things that are going to be found in the detox program. And these things like buckwheat and beets and Spanish black radish, just in a general sense, have lots of antioxidants. Free radicals are these unstable elements in the body, and they're unstable, so they basically need to bind to something, and so they destroy tissue in the body and create inflammation and cause disruption. And so when we have antioxidants, the antioxidants will actually bind to the free radical and make it not a free radical anymore. And so that can help to prevent the damage from inflammation, toxicity, and all the things that we mentioned earlier. And this is really important too. Now, going through COVID, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened in COVID, but there's a lot of cool things that we learned through COVID and all the research that they were doing. But do y'all remember which groups had the more likelihood of dying or getting sicker from COVID? Do you remember what they classified them into? What group that was? You had to have what diseases? What type of diseases?
Diabetes.
Yeah. So diabetes, heart disease. So what do all those have in common? They're metabolic diseases. And so what we learned about that is the reason why you were more susceptible to have long haulers COVID, more symptoms, or even die from COVID is because when you are out of metabolic balance and you have diabetes, you have heart disease, this is all metabolism going awry, you have more free radicals in your body. And when you have more free radicals in your body, your immune system is weaker. The free radicals will actually cross the cellular membrane, get into the cell, and now they're creating destruction from inside the cell. Well, the last defense that the body has against free radicals is your natural killer cells. And so what happens when you have a lot of metabolic inflammation, your natural killer cells, which are actually your last line of defense against infection from viral penetration, they get locked up with free radicals. And so when the COVID would penetrate the cell, you did not have enough natural killer cells to kill the COVID. And so that's why they were more susceptible to death. And so doing a program like this actually builds your immune system because you're getting rid of free radicals and you're increasing antioxidants. And what's probably one of the most common antioxidants on the planet that everybody's taking, vitamin what? C, vitamin C. Google it. If you see, look, there's research that's been done since COVID, many different countries, and they have found that vitamin C is one of the most cheapest, effective things that we can use to prevent more COVID sickness, to shorten the duration of COVID and prevent COVID morbidity, because vitamin C quenches free radicals, and it also boosts the immune system. But so this is the study that they did. It's the 28-day program right here. There's 37 people in it. And what they found at the end of the program was there was 40% more plasma antioxidant activity. That's pretty tremendous in 28 days, 40%. Imagine how strong your immune system can be. Up to 23% with increased antioxidant enzyme activity. And then 13% decrease in oxidative stress. And then many people reported physical and emotional health was better. And I've seen that over the last 2 decades. So I have a 10-day program. The main one we recommend is a 28-day program. And I do recommend a 10-day program that goes back to somebody just getting started. When you're starting something like this, and it doesn't matter what it is in your life, you're trying to make a change or do something or work out. It's very important to start with small goals, and I do that even when I'm working with people, counseling with their diets. There's all kinds of ways we can eat, food break programs, there's paleo, there's ketogenic, there's intermittent fasting, there's OMAD, so many different options, but where do I start? Is it safe for me to start here versus there? Am I ready for that? Do I have enough discipline to finish the program? And so when I'm working with people with their foods, and they come in, they do a food record, And then we look at the food record, see what you're eating, what you're not eating, and then we set 1 to 2 small goals. Because people can do 1 to 2 small goals versus getting on a new diet. And so the 10-day program is a good place to start if you don't think you have the discipline to go 28 days. And so that's what that program is for. And I tell people, hey, let's just get started like we mentioned earlier. And if you get to the end of the 10 days, you're like, hey, I can do this, I like it, and go all the way. But that's what that program is for. And it's a cheaper starting point too, if budget is an issue. And we're kind of getting ready to close here, but the program is designed, of course, it was registered dietitians, and scientists were involved, and clinicians in the eating program. But when you look at the food in the grocery list, it's designed to get a lot of the acidic foods out of your diet. And the acidic foods cause inflammation. Acidic foods have more free radicals, and so it helps to balance out your pH. We have a chart here. The more you weigh, the more protein you need, and the more you work out, the more protein you will need. If you're CrossFit 5-6 days a week, you need to make sure with the shakes that you do, 17 grams a shake. I definitely go up to 3 shakes a day. And you got to also supplement with the diet. You want to make sure you're getting enough protein, so you're probably almost 1 gram per pound for some patients. That's probably not so many people in here that are working out like that. But you can always consult with me and I'll help you set that up. And I like this, without getting into a bunch of detail. Of course, the book has all the details. Just stare at that for a second, and that is what a healthy plate looks like. If you can snap that in your brain, and never forget that, you would change your destiny. Prevent so much metabolic disease. But fruit is important. Fruit has lots of antioxidants in it, especially your berries. However, most people are in some degree of metabolic imbalance and high body fat. And the only problem with fruit is it has what kind of sugar in it? Fructose. Fructose is as hard on the liver to metabolize as alcohol is. Fructose, if you get too much, will damage your liver just as bad as alcohol will. This was early in my career. I had a young kid came in, and this was before even this was like very well known, but the young kid, he had no energy, he was obese. The doctor did some tests on him, and his liver enzymes were out the roof. I think he was like 10. And they just couldn't figure out what's going on with this kid's liver. So I did a food record. Guess what he was doing every day? Over 10 soda pops a day. Pop-Tarts, chicken nuggets, french fries, cereal, milk, and candy. Why do you think his liver was inflamed? It's from the fructose sugar. So he had non-alcoholic liver disease at 10 years old from a standard American diet. So, food for thought. Where I'm going with this though is if you are trying to get maximum weight loss on this program, do not do any fruit. One thing to remember is sugar is sugar is sugar is sugar. It doesn't matter if it comes from fruit or not. And so when we're talking about having high body fat, we gotta watch where all other sugar's coming from. And so I'm not anti-fruits. I do very little fruit. If you're trying to get optimal with fruit, it's you're supposed to eat it when it's in season. There can be very small amounts of fruit and still be beneficial. But that's what a plate looks like, and I also recommend if you're trying to have maximum weight loss, and I have acceptable grains in the book there, you're going to want to do very little grains. There's fiber and stuff in there, but you're getting plenty of fiber in the detox shakes. But if you want to lose weight, because all grains are a bunch of carbohydrates, and all carbohydrates are a bunch of sugar attached together. So when the carbohydrates break down the body, you got a bunch of sugar. And then the sugar that you don't use, what does it get turned into? It's turned into fat. Exactly. And then we want to get that metabolism balance and stop overloading our pancreas and spiking insulin. Water is super important. If you feel tired at all in the program, drink water. Now, the recommendations, it's a lot of water. You shoot for 10 glasses a day, which is a lot. I don't know if everybody can do that. If you have urinary issues, retention problems, you might have to cut your water off like early, or you'll not get sleep. I don't want you to get sleep because you got to go to the bathroom so much. So don't slug a glass of water down before you go to bed. Try and get the cleanest water that you can, but water is the universal detoxifier and the universal solvent. But if you feel tired, drink some water, and usually it'll go away. Your body's probably looking for more water. And then exercise is super big. Not everybody knows this, but exercise is actually very powerful to promote detoxification. Exercise helps to pump your lymph system, pump your blood, move everything around, helps us get more oxygen in our body, drive out toxins even through the breath. And so driving the lungs is the big pump of the system to make things work faster and work better. If you really want to lose some weight and be really transformed in 28 days, 10,000 steps is the goal. 10,000 steps. They got apps on your iPhone. Most people have a smartphone. You can use a Fitbit. It's easy to track your steps. Not easy to get 10,000 steps, by the way. Yeah, so at the end of the program, it can be transformational. Again, you get in what you put out in this program here. And so we're definitely excited to get y'all kicked off with that. So I'm getting ready to close up here. I'm going to read a really powerful testimony. Share a picture of that with you. Make sure I covered everything. Yeah. Okay. So this is a friend of mine now, the patient, from several years ago, Miss Diane. She was so inspired by her transformation coming to the office that she retired from her career, and she is now a licensed massage therapist because she wants to give back to people. But this is a phenomenal testimony, and there's probably better words to describe how awesome this is. I'm going to take the glasses off here. Alright, so Diane's testimony. At 50 years old, after years of illnesses, numerous surgeries, a car accident, a non-stop family life working and raising 6 children, she became severely ill, and she was unable to restore her health with her own assistance in the medical community. She described that her immune system could not keep up. She was sick and hurt all the time. Her memory was terrible, and it was terrible because I would talk to her at the in a visit, and she would say, "What'd you say? Could you say that again?" And so she started writing things down. She was a carb and sugar addict. Raise your hand if you've ever been addicted to carbohydrates. I'm a bunch of liars in the Also, I couldn't get enough sleep and was tired all the time. I had terrible acid reflux. I'd already had my esophagus stretched twice to be able to swallow food. My digestive system was shot. I had IBS on and off for 20 years. I could not tolerate stress. All I would do was startle every time someone would move or walk into my field of vision. 3 years ago, so this is at the time she came to the office of this testimony, I had a 6-week-long illness causing breathing distress, listlessness, and hopelessness. I became jaded with the medical community, and I'm not against the medical community. This is just her testimony. And sought someone who would help me, all of me. And she said, God sent me to Dr. Snow and Dr. Katie to regular chiropractic adjustments, find recommendations from my nutritional consults. I had gone from what I believe was about to be my death to become more vital and energetic than I have been in 25 years. I incorporated nutrition, ketogenic, intermittent fasting lifestyle. We taught her that towards the end, whole food supplements. Not only has my memory been restored, but I feel like I have a bionic brain. What a testimony. With amazingly clear thinking, I sleep great, only need 6 to 7 hours of sleep. I feel refreshed. My digestion has never been better. I don't eat sugar and bad carbs. I have no cravings anymore. I am no longer jumpy. Another bonus of my health and wellness journey is that I lost 75 pounds. Wellness is a lifestyle plan to continue. Thank you, Dr. Snow, for your holistic approach and coming in into my life. Super cool. It was amazing. She'd given up on life basically. When she came, when we were doing the initial exams, she couldn't stop crying. It was really sad to see somebody that was like just giving up on life. And so she told me, she was like, if you can't help me, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So real heavy, kind of like burden that was I felt, as a doctor to help Miss Diane. But she was serious. She felt like she was probably going to die short, die early if she didn't do something. So she stayed with the program. She did excellent, very dedicated patient. And this is her before and after. Yeah, 75 pounds. Pretty phenomenal. And so this was their quote: "Wellness is a lifestyle plan to continue. Thanks, Dr. Snow, for listening to the healing and restoring my body, myself, and my life." Yeah, so I just want to end with this. We take for granted our bodies. The Bible teaches us some really important things, which I'll leave with when it comes to our body, but the Bible talks about our body as the temple of the Holy Spirit. And we're supposed to give our body over as an act of worship to God so that we can fulfill the plan of God in our life. And so we all have a purpose here. We all have a mission. We have a purpose to our family, our community, to God, share our gifts and talents, and point people to the Father. And so it's very important that we steward our bodies so that we can finish our race and help others. And you have to remember the choice every day is that we have to choose life. And that's mentioned in Deuteronomy. God said, I want you to choose life. I've said before you death, cursing, but I want you to choose life. And everything that we do is a decision of death, or a decision of life. What you put in your mouth is a decision of death or life. What we think, the words that we say, and the actions that we do. And so we don't take lightly what we do. I'm so excited. So many people showed up tonight to see people actually care. They want to make a difference. And, we want to be there for our families. We want to be there for our spouses. We want to be there for our community. And so taking this step on this journey is an exciting thing. And we're happy for you. And give yourselves a hand clap.